Hello. Right now I'm going to be doing a kind of overview of the Swedish Forsheda F2, which is the mask that you see in front of you. Uh, Obviously, this one didn't come with a filter. To make that a little bit more obvious, I've put probably my favorite filter on here, um, which obviously isn't the real one. Anyway, the F2 is pretty neat, pretty rare too. You'll see a lot of civilian A4s for sale. The two most notable differences that I've seen, although I suspect they're like Avon N10s where there's actually differences to the head harness buckles and etc., is on the F2 we actually have a drinking tube system, and you you can put the filter on either side. Uh, on the A4 there is no drinking tube system at all, and this is just blanked off and you can't use it. Now this is actually, I'll take this off so you can see it, hopefully. C being relative. A This is actually a secondary voice membrane. What's really weird about this mask is they seem to have an affinity for blanking plugs, because for some reason the inlet side also came with a blanking plug. Why they did this I'm not really sure. When I got it, both sides were blanked off, but with different plugs. Anyway, both sides are fully functional and fully valved out, as you can see here. This nice yellow valve hardware, very nice. Anyway, on from that, it's kind of a nice, I don't want to call it an S10 copy, but it's kind of somewhere between the S10 and the M95, but it's really its own classification of design. And it takes a little bit from everywhere, but it also gives a lot. And I really like it. Where you'll have, say, the SM90 or the M95 that really kind of squeeze onto your face, this seals really well, but it does feel roomy. It feels like you have a lot of room inside, which is pretty neat. The voice diaphragm's decent. The lenses, these are a little bit yellowed, which is disconcerting, and I think there are inserts for this, maybe tint or something. There's also these weird ridges on the outside. I'm not really sure about inserts, because that's kind of my main complaint about this mask, is that there are no accessories for sale. Like, at all. There's no inserts, obviously, like I just said, which just makes sense, but the other problem is that this is actually a proprietary drinking tube system. It's about the size of the one for the Chinese FMJ08, but it doesn't work the same, and it's not compatible with their canteen caps. So, and I don't even know what canteen I need for this. So if you have any info on that, really, I appreciate a heads up or something, because right now, as far as I can tell, this is a proprietary drinking tube system where it doesn't look like I'll be using it anytime soon. That said, it's more aesthetically pleasing than the civilian one. Anyway, on to kind of the rest of the mask. I guess I'll give you some history while I do that. This is kind of Sweden's current issue respirator. Obviously, like I said, it's made by Forsheda, and they make two of them, which is the F2 and the A4. F2 being military, A4 being civilian. And, really, honestly, that's about it. I believe it replaced a, I think their M9 copy? I think it's their M9 copy. That's the last thing I remember them using, although it's really hard to tell with Nordic countries, because, they'll issue a lot of different respirators. And, I have a friend who collects Norwegian stuff, and it's just, they're kind of all over the place, and they'll swap back and forth between each other a lot. Sweden will buy from Norway. Yeah. Anyway, enough about that. The mask has a very good head harness to it. It's very long. It's this nice mesh thing. It sits very well. But really onto the inside. The inside is where it gets a little bit weird. This is what happens when you kind of let people design their own things. You get some very interesting ideas. Now, it has an asymmetrical nose cup design, which is very fascinating, because you don't see that a lot. Let me kind of adjust myself here so I can make sure you guys can see this. One of the key things to note is that you have an inhale valve right there. There we go. Then you have a blanking plug right there. Again, these guys and their fucking blanking plugs. I've never seen a mask with 2 ports and 3 blanking plugs. Weird. But, so yeah, it's kind of like the Canadian C3 if you got to choose which side of your nose gets air. I guess if you have a stuffy nose or something, you can swap it back and forth. That's a joke, of course. You're really only supposed to use one port at once, and usually it'll enter through, like, say, the left port and go over the nose cup and around, and then down to this valve, which makes sense. It's just kind of weird, because on the S10, they'll just have a cut down the center of the nose, and then obviously on US masks, you'll have ones on either side, except for the M45, which has 2 on one side of it. The M45 is a fucking disaster, though. It's fucking sonically welded. I mean, who does that? This might be sonically welded. I don't know. Go Sweden. But yeah, it's pretty cool. The other thing I want to show you, if I can, I'm really realizing now that I need to put more effort into my light setups, because this is probably like an incredibly uncomfortable review to watch.